Honorable Elijah and Clara Muhammad. And whereas Imam Muhammad was the leader of the largest body of Muslim Americans of African descent and recognized world-renowned religious leader, thinker, and universal ambassador. Whereas Imam Muhammad was unanimously chosen as the leader of the Nation of Islam by his father's followers in 1975 and transformed them to practice universal Islam as practiced by over 1 million or 1 billion Muslims. I think we're up to 2 billion now. Whereas he signed the Williamsburg Charter at Williamsburg, Virginia, celebrating the First Amendment and first freedom of the US Constitution. And whereas Imam Muhammad was the first Muslim ever to deliver the invocation open in the United States Senate in Washington, D.C. And whereas in 1993 and in 1997, Imam Muhammad gave the Islamic prayer at both inaugurations of President William J. Clinton. And whereas in 1996, he led a delegation of Muslims to the Vatican City in Rome, Italy. And in 1999, at the request of Pope John Paul II, he addressed over 100,000 people at the Millennium Jubilee celebration. And whereas, while Imam Muhammad was recognized nationally and internationally, he was a loyal and dedicated resident and citizen of his civic and local community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that September 3rd of every year be celebrated and given tribute to Imam Wahid Muhammad Day in the village of Hazel Crest, signed this 6th day of September 2009, the Honorable Robert B. Donaldson, Mayor. That's the end of the reading of the resolution. There are a few other things I'd like to mention in reference to Imam Muhammad's life and legacy. In April 1988, he participated as the representative of Muslim Americans in the Political and Religious Leaders Campaign for Planetary Survival in Oxford Town Hall. Later that year, he was among 100 leaders in religion, government, business, law, and philanthropy who gathered in Williamsburg, Virginia during the Williamsburg Charter Foundation's First Liberty Summit. In 1995, he participated in the Forbes Forum on Management in Naples, Florida. In 1996, he participated in the National Discussion on Race and Reconciliation, sponsored by the National Press Club in Washington, D.C. He participated in the Religious Community and Moral Challenge of Poverty Roundtable discussion convened by the U.S. Senator at that time, Paul Simon, in 1998 in Carbondale, Illinois. Imam Muhammad gave the first invocation, as I mentioned, in the United States Senate by a Muslim ever in 1992. That same year, he became the first Muslim to deliver an address on the floor of the Georgia State Legislature. In 1993, he gave an Islamic prayer during the first inaugural interfaith prayer service of President Bill Clinton, and in 1997, a second interfaith prayer service. In 1997, additionally, he was appointed to the then Bill Clinton's Religious Advisory Board. On July 4th, 1976, he started the New World Patriotism Day celebrations, which were conducted on Independence Day in major cities across America. On December 23rd, 1989, he spoke at the annual conference of the Islamic Committee on Palestine on the plight of the Palestinians. On behalf of the Muslim American community, he donated $85,000 to Nelson Mandela to aid his efforts to end apartheid in South Africa during a personal meeting in Oakland, California on June 30th, 1990. And on September the 11th, he denounced the terrorist acts as un-Islamic. Those are some of the accomplishments and legacy of Imam Muhammad. Now I'd like to read some of Imam Muhammad's words from the book, Follow the Leader, which was published on December 17, 2000. These are some of his closing thoughts. I wish I could say much more to you, but God be with us. May God be with us always. Protect us from Satan and his schemes, and make workers out of us to undo his ugly scheme, and take that burden off of all of us. Because Satan's schemes, his picture reality is nothing but oppression. Reject it and work only with the true guidance of the Quran and the Muslim life as Muhammad, the prophet, prayers and peace be upon him, has lived it. And you will be successful. And when all of us have gone and our sons and our daughters have gone, there will be a new generation still in what we are in right now. And eventually, a new people are going to form a new world that will be a just world for human beings and for human life. It's going to come. This is permanent. God is bringing in a new people and a new way of thinking, a new world. Let us become lovers of creation with the mind that appreciates logic and the exact sciences. And let us not forget that the necessary thing for this interest and development is God's creation, not all those books, though they are very valuable. We cannot ignore what man has written down to record his own experience and achievements, but know that the better help is not in those college textbooks. The better help is in the world that God created. And if you will be like the establishment and use the books, but also go to the word that God created, the world that God created, you will have a renewal of life. And we will have a revival. We will have a new opportunity, a new community springing up in America, like that sprung up in Arabia 1,400 years ago. It can happen. It can happen again, and it's going to happen again. So you are convinced by your own intelligence that what Imam W.D. Muhammad represents is the best opportunity for us, is the most dignified support for us. Then lay to it. Put your brain to it. Put your heart into it. And spend your energy advancing the life content of the Muslims as it was and as it is in the Quran, and as it is in the practice and sunnah of Muhammad. Prayers and peace be upon him, Muhammad the Prophet, as I've tried to represent it to you. And that concludes some of the words of Imam Muhammad.
Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar.
And now I would like to bring forward the mayor of the village of Hazel Crest, Mayor Sandra Alexander. Let me tell you just a little bit about Sandra. Sandra began her career with the village of Hazel Crest in 1994. Served the community as a 911 dispatcher receptionist, accounts payable clerk, executive assistant to 4 mayors and 4 village managers, deputy village clerk, first full-time African-American to work in the administrative offices in the village of Hazel Crest, the first registered municipal clerk and certified municipal clerk for Hazel Crest. Sandra retired from the village in 2018, and she now serves as the president of the Hazel Crest Proper Neighborhood Association. We're not in proper here, are we? We're not in proper. There's no further either here. Sandra was elected Hazel Crest trustee on April 23rd, in April 2023. Elected the first Black female mayor for the village of Hazel Crest in 2025. The youngest of 8 Hazel Crest resident, homeowner for 27 years. Prior to moving to Hazel Crest, she grew up and was raised in Harvey. And Sandra has 2 daughters that she's very proud of. And she's a graduate of the Hazel Crest School District 152 and a half. Thornton High School District. So with that, let's welcome the mayor of the village of Hazel Crest, Sandra Alexander.
Thank you, Rod. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to be real brief. Welcome, everyone. It is my honor as the mayor of Hazel Crest to extend heartfelt greetings and deepest appreciation to each of you gathered here today. On behalf of the village of Hazel Crest, thank you for being here, and thank you to the organizers of this important celebration. Congratulations on this historic achievement, and may this day be filled with joy, reflection, renewed commitment to the values that Imam W.D. Muhammad so powerfully embodied. Welcome, and thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
I was hoping Sandra would mention, but she didn't. She's known for her brevity. I said, Sandra, brevity is not appropriate at this time. But at any rate, thank you so much for those kind words. And Sandra was also village clerk, deputy clerk at the time of this resolution that I read previously. In fact, she is the one that wrote it up. So, Sandra, we have a small token of our appreciation to you. This is a commemoration piece from our community, created by our brother Shahid Wangara over here on the left. And this medallion commemorates the 50 years of excellence in leadership by our illustrious Imam. Yeah, Allah be pleased with him. And it reads, from 1975 to 2025, 50 years of excellence in leadership. Also on the medallion here are some of the words of Imam Muhammad that all of us need to study. You heard some of those during the Khutba today. Words like man means mind. Words make people. Remake the world. Do for self. And on the front of the medallion, it reads, government, justice, culture, business, freedom, unity of worship, equality, education, and Deen al-Fitr. So thank you very much, Sandra. Thank you so much. Thank you. Having a difficult time holding the notes. So next, I'd like to bring to the rostrum again, Imam Rabani Mubashir to introduce our next presenter.
Rebels. Yeah. I'm to introduce the representative of the Focal movement. Focal the international movement of Catholic persuasion that we've had a very, very, very close relationship with. And hardly ever we had a convention where there wasn't a representative, and particularly the tall Peter. His name was Peter. Bill. Yes. At every convention. The best way to introduce this relationship, if you can see it, it's called The Pact. It's a book by Roberto Catalano, professor of religious studies. As you can see, this is Imam David Muhammad, Rahimahullah alayhi, and this is Lady Kira Lubit. And just looking at that, that would seem would ask, hey, there must be some questions. There's a pact that exists, and I'll make it brief and come up to the pact, what the pact is. Words make people. What do people make? People make whatever the words make of them. This is the pact. These are the products of the words of their faith. And for both of them equally, their word, their faith, their religious language taught us that humanity is one. I think it was mentioned in the Khutba. Humanity is one. But because we have such diversity, which Imam Muhammad uniquely points out, the diversity, our diversity is to make the unity better. The richness of the unity comes from the diversity. So it's not our differences we're interested in, it's what we share. Now I can read the quote from the book, but that's better though. Again, I think I mentioned some of the history of that. They may have became acquainted in 1997. Imam Muhammad. And the meeting of the two leaders, I'm reading from this book, which Imam Sahir of Indianapolis, he wrote the foreword in the book. So it was one of our imams responsible for also contribution to this book. The pact, the spiritual, is that the name, mentioned it. The pact is the name of the book. The spiritual friendship between Kiara Lubik and Imam W.D. Muhammad. The risk of dialogue. You can imagine how Catholic and a Muslim, there is some risk there if we're not cultivated enough to look for the universal.
Connected. Battery.
Personal, community, but it gives us also this universal, which is the hardest one for us to overcome. Obviously, we see in the world wars, killings, we see disrespect for different cultures and different religions. So that must be the biggest hurdle. So that makes us a very special people. We're inheritors of the view and the vision of these two individuals. So celebration of individuals really speaks to what? Our responsibility to continue what those leaders established for us. What we say we earned from those individuals. So the meeting of these two individuals was preceded by numerous contacts. The first one took place in Denmark, the World Conference of Religions and Peace. During the Imam Muhammad's first visit to the folklore community of Chicago, the Imam confided that he had read a biography of Lady Kira Lubik. So this was before he met her personally, he saw what the words were. Words made people. He wanted to know first what words made this individual. In May of 1997, Kira Lubik, a white woman, I'm quoting from the book, get the spirit of the writer, what he's perceiving. He says, Kira Lubik, a white woman and Catholic Christian, spoke to a large crowd of African-American Muslims inside the Malcolm Masjid Mosque in Harlem, New York. Now that should be in contrast. Very good. This is the writer. He's comparing, making it vivid, showing the vivid contrast that it is. Because most people wouldn't expect that. Harlem, New York.
What do you mean?
A white woman in hijab going into the mosque on 117th Street. What brought this about?
Sitting right up front.
This is where life takes place, when it's rebirth. When you come into this new awareness.
Yeah.
Obviously, she had come into another way, and Imam Muhammad had come into a broad and universal awareness.
So you just need the vibes.
Now I want to conclude with just a quote. This is what she said at the end of that meeting. I recall listening to her lecture there in that meeting in Masjid Al-Shabazz. And she was talking about the efficacy of prayer. She wasn't talking about that. We're talking about the universal faith.
Community through
The efficacy of prayer. How prayer erases our sin, erases our bad conduct. How it improves and purifies them. But she said, leaving the meeting, this is what she said. I'm going to conclude with this. She said, speaking to Imam Muhammad, they were both there for us. She said, let's make a pact in the name of the one God, Catholic speaking, to work unceasingly for peace and for unity. Imam Muhammad responded immediately. This pact is made forever, he said. He didn't get any dialogue. He didn't get into any discussion about it. He knew what she was asking for in the pact. She was asking human beings to rise above their labels and to see themselves as human beings. That's why she had achieved that. Imam Muhammad, of course, we know, had achieved that. Can we achieve it? He didn't hesitate. He said, this pact is made forever. He said, may God be my witness that you are my sister. I am your friend and I will help you always. All right. That's how high the bar is. That's how high the bar is. And so can we live up to that? So we welcome our guest speaker. And we welcome them always. We've broken the hill many times. We have so many. How many years now? 30 years. All right.
Thank you, everyone. The Focolare movement joyfully congratulates the community of Imam W.D. Muhammad on this historic 50th anniversary. We celebrate the enduring legacy of Imam Muhammad's leadership and then community's unwavering commitment to human excellence. With profound respect and shared purpose, we look forward to continued friendship and collaboration in building a more just and compassionate world. We will always be deeply grateful to Imam Muhammad for opening the path of friendship between our communities, a gesture of vision and courage that continues to inspire and guide us. So the Focolare movement of the US and Canada website, we created a special page for this historic 50th anniversary. We uploaded the videos and talks and different materials that we can learn more and share each other's stories. As Imam recalled that historic moment of the pact at Markham Shabbat's in 1997, after that event, Yara Lubick spontaneously suggested that make a pact. And this powerful moment of mutual commitment sealed a bond that continues to inspire communities across the country to walk together as one family, united in purpose and dedicated to a good of all humanity.
Yes.
Since that event in Harlem 97 and Washington, D.C. 2000, maybe many of you were present that event in Washington, D.C. Our two communities has continued to grow,
right,
and a series of the encounters of the spirit of universal brotherhood emerged and hosted in communities from Chicago to Atlanta, from Miami to Los Angeles. These gatherings were led by local Muslims and Christian leaders and have reflected the depth of friendship rooted not only in dialogue, but in shared life and mission. In moments of national pain or global unrest, this relationship has remained steadfast, anchored in a commitment to work together and uphold one another's dignity. So today, younger generations are inheriting this legacy of Imam Muhammad and Guadalupe, bringing their own energy and vision to the path of unity. So this group is called Next Now. And I would like to invite Sasha Onpengo here, who is this part of this group, and she can share a little bit of her experience of today's. Next, please welcome Sasha.
Thank you, Juliana. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
What a blessing and an honor to be here with all of you today, really to celebrate God 50th anniversary. I just want to reflect, as Juliana mentioned, on the Next Now initiative, the Next Now group that organically emerged from our desire as that next generation of Catholic followers of Chiara Lubich in the Focolare movement, as well as Muslim followers of W.D. Muhammad. It's sometimes I feel like it's when we got together, and this group is comprised of it's fluctuated, but I think the core group, there's 6 to 8 of us that come from all parts of the United States. So I'm based here in Chicago. There's 2 of us that are here in Chicago. Muslima is in Ohio. Mujahideen and Sister Marsha are in Newark, New Jersey. Imam Bilal is in New York. And so we have this group that if I might, like, I feel like in my area, in my life, this, and we remarked this to one another, this group of individuals who I feel are so committed to seeing the pact of unity between Imam W.D. Muhammad and Chiara Lubich remain alive and, more importantly, relevant and meaningful, and that legacy that it might continue, especially in the world that continues and is very much hungry and thirsty for seeing living examples of what authentic relationship and mutual support and reciprocity and these universal values of fraternity, brotherhood, or rather just universal values of showing up for each other in real ways, and especially when it's most difficult. And our work, when I was speaking to earlier, in my life, there's a lot of things I'm involved with, a lot of having to navigate challenges, and that's not uncommon, or not something that is definitely something with the Next Now group that we do. And there are concrete ways that we want to continue and have really wanted to model the relationship, but as a group that first and foremost is committed to our own faith and living out our values within our own, I guess, the way we've been brought up. But I would have to, in my heart, I feel like so much of my formation as a Catholic has been so influenced by the relationship that we've had with Imam W.D. Muhammad's community, because with those through the years, when I look back on the number of service projects we've done or events, the fraternity, universal fraternity events that we had throughout the years, those that my exposure to W.D. Muhammad's community and a people that really live their faith fervently and concretely and with openness, but also fidelity to their values, has really inspired me, having seen many Catholics that do not do that. And so with the Next Now group and wanting to keep that legacy alive, a lot of it concretely looks like behind the scenes planning for some of the larger events that we've had nationally. So when we wanted to celebrate and commemorate 25 years of the relationship between our two communities, we worked as like this next generation. It was next generation because it was really either our parents or those before us who really brought forward the relationship, and we were there to watch and soak it in and be shaped and formed by that. But so, for example, I wasn't at Malcolm Shabazz Mosque in 1997, but I felt very blessed to go to Washington, D.C. in 2000 to see both leaders come together and live into this pact and have our two communities not even feel like two communities, really felt like one community, one of all of us together, really living in the ways I could for our faith to be an inspiration, certainly for ourselves and with that integrity, but within our own environments. And so commemorating 25 years with this group, and not just in planning, but we spend time to pray together. We open up every planning meeting. We've been attempting to meet once a month. And then in times when we're leading up to an event more frequently, but if we always open up in prayer, we'll often open up Muslim prayer and close in like our Christian or Catholic prayer and wanting, but also I think there's a beautiful respect and a synergy and a way that things just flow so well when it comes to bringing these events to life and coordinating with the different communities. So between 25 years and also more recently, and wanting to keep up the relationship with key events in commemoration of, for example, W.D. Muhammad Day, and with Kara Lubeck anniversary in the spring. A lot of that has really come from like us listening to the community and bringing that back out. And so my experience, I think, has even been more, I feel my life is more enriched as a result of being continuously exposed to this pact of unity that our faith leaders had made 25 plus years ago. But when I think of the things that are even in the news and what might happen this weekend and who knows, it really is grounding to have the presence of such a loving and faithful partnering community walking alongside this journey of life in faith together. And so I want to close, I guess, in sharing my experience about this is we are planning to revive our Around the Word of Life podcasts. So once a month at the end of the month, we were coming together, and we continue this. It's an online podcast where our Next Now group each reflects on a word from the Quran and a word and scripture from the gospel, and finding sort of the aligning messaging in there, and then speaking into the word by real life experiences that we've lived out the past month. And then we invite others in the community who are tuning in to join. And going into themes are desired in the future is to bring up relevant themes, like what is the impact of AI, and what will be the impact of the changing political climate, and how do we live into our faith as two communities together, and going back to the word, going back to our respective sacred scriptures to do that, but living it in real life as a model. So I wouldn't be able to do that, I feel, with true faith and integrity, or with true integrity and connection to that feels authentic, if not for W.D. Muhammad's community and his yes to the and then continuing to do so together. So we will talk and share with the broader community about when the podcast is next up. We are looking for next month, at the end of the month.
All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
Was very broad. I'm sorry about that, man. It was supposed to bring a different thing in here. So Juliana, where's Juliana? Can you come back up, please? No, I get those. I get those. Juliana, we want to also provide you with a memento for your presentation here today. It's the same commemoration piece that we gave the mayor. We thank you so much for all of the work that you do and for the relationship between our community and the folklore movement. We really appreciate you very much, and we want you to know that. So on behalf of the Taqwa Islamic Center, the Masjid Al-Taqwa, not necessarily one brother. Before I bring on our next presenter, I want to call Trustee Merle Huckabee forward and present her with the same memento that we provided to the mayor and the folklore movement representative. Merle is recently elected to the Board of Trustees of Hazel Crest and is doing a tremendous job. Very dedicated to fiscal responsibility.
Yes.
And
So this
doing
is
what's right.
Washington DC.
You all don't know
We
this.
really celebrate together. And
Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Wonderful. I have to make the announcement for this. Yeah.
We also want to provide this same memento to the director of community and business relations. She's made it very easy for us to have this program. Someone I've come to admire very much. Ms. Joyce Dickerson. Ms. Joyce. Joyce is responsible for some of the detailed things that we've had to benefit us here at this gathering. Want to do that now?
Yeah, just so
So,
we know.
Imam Tariq, you want to mention that and then pass them out, or have people? Okay. There is a very nice piece with gratitude and admiration that the folklore movement has made for all of the guests here. So please take one of these as we end the program. Thank you very much. Okay, moving along. So with great pleasure, I'd like to introduce our next presenter, Mariam May Ali.
All right.
May, as you all may or may not know, is the eldest daughter of 9 of the greatest of all time, Muhammad Ali.
Right.
May was born in Chicago, guided by a deep commitment to service. She spent over 15 years as a social worker for gang prevention programs in Los Angeles, with her most recent position there as the regional manager for the mayor's office of gang reduction and youth development. As a public speaker, Mariam has given presentations for social and human service organizations nationwide. While she values her work in social services, Mariam is now returning to her artistic roots with the autobiographical solo performance titled Float. For those of you who haven't seen it, we hope that you'll get a chance to see that, May. So with that, please no further introduction. You need to let May Ali.
All right.
Beautiful event.
I know.
No, I don't have a context.
I'm blind though. It's the letter of Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. This has been a beautiful day. Beautiful day. Thank you so much. I was wondering, I told Brother Bashir I couldn't prepare anything. I was just thinking of a story about Imam Worthy Muhammad that really stands out. I was about 8 years old, and my father just told me he was going to move to LA soon. And we were just devastated. Like, you're leaving Chicago? And he came over to my grandmother's house in Flossmoor. And he walked in, and we have the Quran at the highest level of a big piece of furniture in the dining room. And I would ask him, I was trying to reconcile this transition we made from the nation to Islam. And I was asking him questions. And he reached up, and those Qurans that are about that thick, he reached up and put the Quran down. And he began to talk about Worthy Muhammad and Islam. And I remember him saying, Worthy, we called him Wallace back then, they were buddies. So he said, Worthy Muhammad and Malcolm X were way ahead of me. They understood true Islam before I did. He said, this book we used to keep on the highest shelf, and it should stay there, but you have to bring it down now. And I realized and noticed even at a young age, the psychological and emotional benefit of having a man like Worthy Muhammad guide us to true Islam. Because there were so many groups, no offense, that the African-American, it was hard to trust many groups to guide us into something when those groups really didn't embrace us in learning the religion. So who's going to teach us true Islam? So Worthy Muhammad, peace be upon him, he guided us there, and it was as a face of trust, and not just an African-American man, but a scholar in the religion, a man who knew Arabic. So my father says, you take this book down and you study it for your life, your whole life. He said, the world's going to change. Trends are going to happen. When we get confused, our example is Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. That's our example. When you get confused, there's every blueprint of life, every decision you make is in this book. It's not a man's religion. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's religion. And he said, Worthy Muhammad is such a blessing. Although he would tell me God had that plan for him. It was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who gave him to us for a reason. It was Allah who gave us the nation of Islam for a reason, to get us to this place. So I'll never forget that conversation, because I remember the nation school had closed and we went to a predominantly white school in Flossmoor, and it was a culture shock for me. It was a culture shock. It was like, whoa, what's going on here? Yeah. At that school, they called me May X, because I just wasn't playing. I walked with my head up high like this. So it was hard to bully me. It was hard to, because of that foundation that I came from. But I never forget him also telling me this. He said, because we are now following Islam from the Quran, it still doesn't mean you forget about your people, your history. So having Worthy Muhammad be able to guide us in a way to understand the Quran, but doing it in a way where he interpreted, where we can understand it through our culture, our history, our experience, because we had a very specific, unique experience here in this country. So we didn't have to leave that behind. So that's what I love about this brother. Sister Gina, oh, so good seeing her. I remember, this is a side note, I never forget when we were at your house. I would play with this woman, and we were watching the last Ali Frazier fight at your father's. You probably don't remember this. It was the last fight. It was at your house. And I forget, we were sitting there looking at that fight. I don't know if your father was home at the time. And I was crying for Joe Frazier, so my dad wouldn't beat him up too bad. And you were like, what you doing? You want your father to beat him up. But I just looked at your face. I remembered that moment. But sister, we love your father. It was so good seeing the Muhammad family today. Yes. And God bless him and his family. And I just just honor my dad for teaching me at 8 years old how important he was, how important our history was, and to respect all of it. That's all I'm gonna say today. But thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. No, I still need. Thank you so much, May, for accepting to be here for us today. We really appreciate it. We were very close to May's grandfather and her grandmother, Sister Amina, and we really appreciate them. They are great pioneers of this community. May touched on this, but I want to just want to reiterate a few things that our Imam stood for that made me as a witness to. He leaves a legacy of sincerity, faith, moral courage, intellect, community life, truth in trust in Allah, and faith in our own abilities. That's our Imam. So with that, May, let me present to you a memento, as we did the others, for your being here today. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. Thanks you. Assalamu alaikum. We're coming to the end of our program. Okay. Now, as May mentioned, there are a number of people here from Imam Muhammad's biological family, and perhaps Sister Layla, who's coming up next, will mention some of them as soon as I find what I'm supposed to do to introduce you, Sister Layla. Sister Layla, and this will come out in the bio, she traveled from Pennsylvania. Be here.
Abdullah.
Hold on, from New Jersey. Okay. So our next presenter is Sister Layla. Sister Layla is a fifth generation African-American Muslim. She is an educator and community advocate born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, raised in Chicago, Illinois, and now living in Roselle, New Jersey. Sister Layla holds a degree in child development, has extensive studies in behavioral science. I can imagine where you got that interest from. Is a certified domestic violence advocate, certified in private mediator, and certified Reiki. That's my wife. Reiki, how to pronounce that. I still got it wrong. Her parents, Imam Worthy Muhammad, Rahim Allah Alayhi, mercy of Allah be upon him, and Sister Shirley Allen Muhammad, and grandparents, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, peace be upon him, and Sister Clara Muhammad, peace be upon her, modeled extensively the importance of giving service through charitable acts throughout her life, throughout their life. From the age of 15, she has traveled the world, fallen in love with the diversity of the human family. Her international and national travels are a major part of her interfaith efforts, the core of all her work. Her international travels include the blessings of making the pilgrimage to Mecca, experiencing a life-changing moment, walking through the door of no return in Ghana, experiencing the walk through the concentration camps in Europe, meeting Pope Francis at the Vatican, and being among the interfaith leaders who attended the Art of Living World Cultural Festival in India. Sister Layla believes all people are striving to reach their human excellence, and with a shared freedom space, will succeed. With that, welcome Sister Layla.
Right.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. With Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. Assalamu alaikum. The peace be unto everyone. I just want to say firstly, thank you all
Thank you.
for lending your ear to everyone and being such a wonderful audience. And I promise you that I'm not going to be long. But if I do, I will ask my sister to do like that because she know I yeah, okay. I guess I'm not going to make that joke today. Anyway, I was going to say something. So what I'll do is start with a shared experience, and the experience took place like about 5, maybe 10 minutes from here, Markham, Illinois, in the Burger King parking lot. And I was with my father and my imam and my employer. He was all of those things in that moment. We had just completed a meeting. A lot of you all know him. My father was a little different. He would meet in places like Burger King. And it was an important, serious meeting. And so I was there taking notes, and the meeting concluded. It was successful. And we were walking to my car, and he also was a gentleman. He walked me to my car, and as we were walking, I saw this dime on the ground. And so from a little kid, I've been raised, you don't leave money on the ground. Then other folks will say, well, you know, it says in God we trust. So I just automatically, knee jerk, I went to pick up the dime, and he stopped me. And then he went and he picked it up. And then he gestured to me, but not all the way. And I knew something was getting ready to come because I saw that look. But then he said, do you know what 10 means? And I'm like, yeah. And I said, consciousness. And he said, no. He said, God consciousness. And for anybody in here who doesn't know 2 things. One, that Imam Muhammad did a lot of lectures on numbers and things like that. But you can just Google nowadays, and it's very interesting. Google the language or study of the numbers, okay? So 10, God consciousness. He gave the dime to me at that point, and he said, never forget that. That was the last thing my father gave to me.
Wow.
May God have mercy and reward and grant him a high place in the next life. Amen. So I wanted to share that with you all, because that, along with this second story, I think are 2 things that help to understand Imam Muhammad, who started off as Wallace D. Muhammad, a little boy that was told he was going to help his father, Elijah Muhammad. And then it got him to the place that we heard about with all of those accomplishments and this diversity group, that belief in God consciousness, that behavior of God consciousness. Okay, so again, in Markham, where my father had a home office, I was there one day, and we were talking. This is maybe a month, maybe 2 months before he transitioned. And I had begun to write publicly at that time. I've written since I was a kid, but at this point in my life, I have 3 books of poetry, and I have lots of different writings and stuff. So I was writing at that time, and I said, Daddy, I think I want to write a book about you. I said, you know, is that okay? He was like, yeah, and he would like that. And so then we began to have a weekly meeting. And at this particular meeting, I asked him, what do you want to be remembered as? And he said, which we've shared over the years, a man of moral courage. And I think that's important because one, I can't talk a long time. And two, I just think that it really puts it really simple. My education background is early childhood, and my professor, Triplett, Sherilyn Triplett, I loved her. She always used to tell us KISS, keep it simple. And I'm not gonna tell you the last word. But anyway, so just very simple. If we as human beings, and if we would teach our children God consciousness, and not to just be courageous and strong advocates or this or that, but to be moral in your courage, and to be another thing that Imam Muhammad taught us. Back in 1975, on February 26, he said, don't let the winds of emotion rock this house or tear this house down. And what that means to me is that before you do anything, be rational, don't react. And I'm gonna close with that because this is the thing. I don't live here anymore, but I love me some Chicago and a Chicago metropolitan area. But I'm in Roselle now, and New Jersey is the Garden City, and I'm telling you, in the Garden State, it really is. So I'm not coming back to Chicago, but my heart is here, and when I hear what President Trump, and I say that because my parents taught me to respect the office. When I hear President Trump talking about bringing out the National Guard, listen to this, to my city, when I know for a fact, because I worked 10 years ago on the south side of Chicago, and I know what was happening, and I know I follow the news, it's safer here now than it was then. Yep. So don't try to twist us up so we can react. Let's be rational.
That's right.
Thank you so much. At this point, I'm going to take a little bit and ask that my family please join me, because lastly, just please come stand if you feel like it. Anybody of my family that's here, I know y'all here. Don't make me look goofy. No. Because this is what I'm going to say, and this is a personal thing, but it also is something that Imam Muhammad said in Homewood at one of the first Sundays. Yeah. And what he also shared with many people when I would accompany him with believers who were struggling with loss and someone passed in their family. He would always say, come on, Kevin. Paulina and Leah and look at. He would always say, when you lose someone that you love, and the Quran says that Muslims don't die, we transition. And so when you have a person that you love to transition, remember they're good and then continue they're good. And I am overwhelmed. I'm going to tell you, Lord, I thank you all because Lord, I don't think we all been in the same space like this in a minute. I have my cousins, my sister, my baby, and Gina. She's my sister. She's my baby. I know her. And then we have little ones. We have my grandchildren, my son here, my niece. I mean, my children. Praise my two sons. I didn't have to tell anybody that was my son. But anyway, it is a blessing from God. It is a blessing from the Creator, the Lord of all systems of knowledge, that all of us can be here because we are all family. And I pray for you. Please pray for us. Yes, sir. And please, let's continue the good of our good people. Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Allah. Allah.
No, he's saying, hold on.
There. Hold up.
Thank you so much for those comments, Sister Layla. You are a witness to what we understand to be the legacy of our Imam. We have yet to study and appreciate the logic, the wisdom, the change in religious and spiritual atmosphere that your father represents. And her father is from us. He is us. He told us to give me a good future. And that is what we're trying to do. We want to give him a good future, not him as an individual, but him as a body of knowledge. And as Sister Layla mentioned, he transitioned. But he said, I'm not dead. I'll still be living in you. And so I'd like to present you with the token of our appreciation for you being here. I know you and I have talked quite a bit about this day. So thank you again. And thank you for bringing your family. Alhamdulillah.
Excuse me, but I had to be real. You can visit me at sisterlayla.com. And also, if you like poetry, I will be having a poetry reading tomorrow in Homewood, Illinois, at the Rock Shop from 3 to 5. Join me.
Thank you very much. We're almost there, everyone. I know. So what we're going to do, are there any, is the police, the fire department still here?
Yeah, they're around there.
So I do see some young people now that I didn't see earlier. We do want you to take advantage of seeing what a firefighter's life is like. The pay is good. There's tremendous job security. I know because I'm one of the taxpayers. So with that, we're going to bring forward one of our young people who is going to do a piece for us, and then we'll close out. We're going to have a very excellent student, Jenna Cannon, to come forward and do a small piece for us. We really appreciate that. Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Jenna Cannon, and I will be reciting our deepest fear. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our dark, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be? Really? Lord, and fabulous. Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people don't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We're born to make manifest the glory of God that is in us. And it's not just in some of us. It's in everyone. Let our own light shine. Feel consciously. Give other people permission to say. And as we are liberated from our own fears, our presence automatically liberates others.
Hello. Thank you very much, Jenna. Jenna is a representation of a lot of talent we have in our community as a people. So thank you again very much for that. I want to remind you that we do have vendors once the program concludes, and we would hope that you patronize them. I think that's it, Brother Imam.
All right.
I think that's it. So at this point, we're going to close out the program. Thank you all very much for coming. We can't say that enough. We hope that we've introduced, for those of you who did not know Imam Muhammad, you can YouTube Imam Muhammad, you can Google Imam Muhammad. He is not just a leader for Muslims. He's and I'm sure you're going to talk about this. I'm not going to steal that from me. So we're gonna ask Imam El-Amin to come forward and close us out with his comments and conclude with prayer. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum. So, you all have done some really important work. That is being a really attentive audience for about an hour and a half now. So, short program. So I'm only going to take 20 minutes. No, we're going to be very quick. We're going to be very, very quick. Okay. So we like to close. There's a narration of the Sahaba. When they would leave from one another, they would leave with not just a salam, say assalamu alaikum, alaikum salam. They would leave with sort of asr, right? This surah where Allah speaks of time. So keeping time in mind, I'm going to first give the translation, and then we'll recite it together, those who are able to do so. This idea of time bearing witness to our success or our demise is something that should be on each and every person's mind, because we're celebrating 50 years of leadership. I'm 52. And that happened very fast. It happened very fast. So the only thing that will bear witness to our proper usage of the time that we have been given is not what we do by ourselves, but what we do in community. So it says, indeed, by the token of time, man is at loss. A human being is in loss, period. Time on its own, without us engaging it properly, the human being is in loss, except for those who believe, those who have faith, right? Those who work deeds of righteousness, and they join one another in the mutual teaching and promotion of truth, patience, and constancy. Very simple formula. Very simple formula. It is community. It is faith. It is belief. It is work, deeds of righteousness. So the next 50 years are going to go by really fast. Believe it or not, they're going to go by really fast. And if there's anything that is constant among older people, is that we often say old people don't care what they say.
Yeah.
Because they don't have time to mess around with you. They're going to give it to you straight.
Yes.
If they got something to do, they're going to do it, because time is on their mind. Your awareness of time changes. Now, how much more could we accomplish if we had this attitude at 18 and 19 and 20? Right? Say youth is wasted on the young. But it is also a mindset. So if we can train ourselves to value time, to move forward with it, and just as I'm getting a wrap it up box for my wife in the back right now, I'm going to wrap this up and just say, let us prepare properly for the next 50 years. Let's not waste any time. Let's do as much as we can in community, do as much good as we can together, and we will indeed be successful. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wal asr. Innal insana la yakhusr illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihat wa tawassaw bil haqqi wa tawassaw bis sabr. And that is indeed by the token of time, man is in loss, except for those who have faith, who do righteous deeds and join one another in the mutual teaching of truth, patience, and constancy. Thank you. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.